Video's coming on now. Alright, stop posing for the camera. Alright, apparently, he brought home this book for me to read. This scared me when I was a kid. Y'all remember this? I mean, look at that. That scared the bejesus out of me. I mean, you know, but I'm all grown up now, like the Rugrats, and, like, it's some good artwork.
This scares the freaking crap out of me.
Okay, what is it? Yeah, somebody wrote in it. That's horrible.
Yeah, but look at that.
Was it like a Slender Man or some
crap?
crap?
No. But that scared the freaking crap out of me.
Well, what's the one? Oh yeah, look at those. Yeah, we gotta get it all the way up there so it can focus. Look at that. That was creepy pasta before the pasta was cooked.
That's not even creepy pasta.
What is it?
Creepy pasta is something like super creepy or something. But you know the boss of creepy
Boss?
What's do you know the king of creepy pasta?
What?
Slender Man. It's a Slender Man. All the kids try to want Slender Man. To him it's half the fun.
Oh yeah? How about this?
That's
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, you better lock the door. 5, 6, what? That's a dope song. Oh, give me this book. Let's read. All right, because you got.
This is a Chucky song. 1, 2, Chucky's coming after you. 3, 4, better shut your door.
Did you hear what I just said? All you do is putting Chucky instead of Freddy. Let's look at more scary stories to tell in the dark, collected from folklore and retold by Alvin Schwartz, with drawings by Stephen Gamble. Wow, Steven, I got to look your stuff up online. Your stuff's dope. Alright. Yeah, look at this. This is scary. Look at that. That's what we do to Jews. I mean, excuse me. Let's find out.
That's not even that scary.
Ooh, hoo-ha's. Look at that. That's a pretty good picture, too. Alright. Hoo-ha's. These scary stories will take you on a strange and fearsome journey, where darkness or fog or mist or the sound of a person screaming or a dog howling turns ordinary places into nightmarish places, where nothing is what you expect. People have been telling scary stories for as long as anyone knows. From the first, they were tales of the supernatural creatures that people feared would harm them, boogeyman, monsters, demons, ghosts, and evil spirits lurking in the dark. Hold on, this isn't even a rhyme. I'm trying to rhyme it. Okay, waiting for the chance to strike. We still tell stories about creatures we fear, but not all of them are about boogeyman and demons. Quite a few are about living people. You'll meet some of them. A fat or jolly butcher, a friendly girl who plays a drum, a neighbor, and others who at best are not to be trusted. Scary stories of this kind often have a serious purpose. They may warn young people of dangers that await them when they set out on the world on their own. But for the most part, we tell scary stories to have fun. We turn out the lights, or we leave just a candle burning. Then we sit close together and tell the scariest stories we know. Often these include some that have been passed down over hundreds of years. If a story is scary enough, your flesh begins to creep. You get a shivery, shaky, screaming feeling. You imagine hearing and seeing things. You hold your breath as you wait to learn how it all ends. If something startling happens, everyone gasps, or jumps, or screams. Some people call those shivery, shaky, screamy feelings the heebie-jeebies, or the screaming memes. Okay. The poet T.S. Eliot called them the hoo-ha's. Hoo-ha! You'd better read the stories in this book while you are still feeling brave and before it gets dark. Then, when the moon is up, tell them to your friends and relatives. You probably give them the hoo-ha's, but they'll have fun, and so will you. Princeton, New Jersey, Alvin Schwartz. Oh, look, that's a cat bat. Man, this dude here is killing it. The art is awesome. Alright, when she saw him, she screamed and ran. This chapter is filled with ghost stories. In one, a man has just become a ghost, but doesn't know it yet. In another, a pirate ship and crew return from a watery grave, and there are other frightful events. Look at that. Man, this is dope. I was scared as all get out, man, but yeah, James Ralph knows about this stuff. Anyway, one morning, John Sullivan... Oh, something was wrong. One morning, John Sullivan found himself walking along a street downtown. He could not explain what he was doing there, or how he got there, or where he had been earlier. He didn't even know what time it was. He saw a woman walking toward him and stopped her. "I'm afraid I forgot my watch," he said, and smiled. "Can you tell me the time?" When she saw him, she screamed and ran. "Ah!" Then John Sullivan noticed that other people were afraid of him. When they saw him coming, they flattened themselves against a building or ran across the street to stay out of his way. There must be something wrong with me, John Sullivan thought. I'd better go home. He hailed a taxi, but the driver took one look at him and sped away. John Sullivan did not understand what was going on, and it scared him. Maybe somebody at home can come and get me, he thought. He found a telephone and called his wife, but a voice he did not recognize answered. "Is Miss Sullivan there?" he asked. "No, she is at a funeral," the voice said. "Mr. Sullivan was killed yesterday in an accident downtown." That was the end of the story. So what was Mr. Sullivan?
The wife.
No, what? Okay, reading comprehension was not the strong point, but what was Mr. Sullivan? Why were people afraid of him? When he called his wife...
He's a ghost.
There you go, bingo. Alright, you want to do another one? The Wreck. Fred and Jean went to the same high school, but they met for the first time at Christmas dance. Fred had come by himself, and so had Jean. Soon Fred decided that Jean was one of the nicest girls he had ever met. They danced together most of the evening. At 11 o'clock, Jean said, "I have to leave now. Can you give me a ride?" "Sure," he said. "I've got to go home too." "I accidentally drove my car into a tree on my way over here," Jean said. "I guess I wasn't paying attention." Fred drove her to the head of Brady Road. It was in a neighborhood he didn't know very well. "Why don't you drop me off here?" Jean said. "The road up ahead is really bad condition. I can walk from here." Fred stopped the car and held out some tinsel. "Have some," he said. "I got it at the dance." "Thank you," she said. "I'll put it in my hair." And she did. "Would you like to go out sometime, to a movie or something?" Fred asked. "That would be fun," Jean said. After Fred drove off, he realized that he did not know Jean's last name or her telephone number. "I'll go back," he thought. "The road can't be that bad." He drove slowly down Brady Road, through a thick woods, but there wasn't a sign of Jean. As he came around a curve, he saw the wreckage of a car ahead. It was crashed into a tree and had caught fire. Smoke was still rising from it. As Fred made his way to the car, he could see someone trapped inside, crushed against the steering column. It was Jean, and her hair was the Christmas tinsel he had given her.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's super duper weird.
All right, we're gonna read one more.
Look at that.
Yeah, I'll show 'em. One Sunday morning. Hold on, Uncle Ricky's got to get him some meat wad juice. All right. One Sunday morning. Ida always went to the 7 o'clock Sunday morning service at her church. Usually she heard the clanging of church bells while she was eating breakfast, but this morning she heard them while she was still in bed. "That means I'm late," she thought. Ida jumped out of bed, quickly dressed, and left without eating or looking at the clock. It was still dark outside, but it usually was dark at this time of year. Ida was the only one on her street. The only sounds she heard were the clatter of her shoes on the pavement. Everybody must already be in church, she thought. Ida took a short cut through the cemetery. Then she quietly slipped into the church and found a seat. The service had already begun. When she caught her breath, Ida looked around. The church was filled with people she had never seen before. But the woman next to her did look familiar. Ida smiled at her. "It's Josephine Kerr," she thought. "But she's dead. She died a month ago." Suddenly, Ida felt uneasy. She looked around again. As her eyes began to adjust to the dim light, Ida saw some skeletons in suits and dresses. "This is a service for the dead," Ida thought. "Everybody here is dead except me." Ida noticed that some of them were staring at her. They looked angry, as if she had no business there. Josephine Kerr leaned toward her and whispered, "Leave right after the benediction, if you care for your life." When the service came to an end, the minister gave his blessing. "The Lord bless you and keep you," he said. "The Lord make his face to shine upon you." Ida grabbed her coat and walked quickly toward the door. When she heard footsteps behind her, she glanced back. Several of the dead were coming toward her. Others were getting up to join them. "The Lord lift up his countenance to you," the minister went on. Ida was so frightened she began to run. Out the door she ran, with a pack of shrieking ghosts at her heels. "Get out!" one of them screamed. Another shouted, "You don't belong here!" and whipped her coat away. As Ida ran through the cemetery, a third grabbed the hat from her head. "Don't come back!" it screamed, and shook its arm at her. By the time Ida reached the street, the sun was rising, and the dead had disappeared. Did this really happen? Ida asked herself. Or have I been dreaming? That afternoon, one of Ida's friends brought over her coat and hat, or what was left of them. They had been found in the cemetery, torn to shreds. The end.
That's weird, too.
Yeah, but it's all fake. It's all ghost stories. Tell around the campfire, and to give you the hoo-ha's. Those are heebie-jeebies. Kind of like the Goosebumps. Remember you like Goosebumps?
Yeah.
Same thing. That's all it is. Well, you ready to go to bed?
Yeah.
You want to read something else? Alright, come on. Come on.
My mom called my name.
Alright. Well, hey, come here. Tell everybody bye.
Bye.
Seriously? Seriously, is that what you wanted?
Bye.
Hi, everybody. Bye. I'm a forklift face. Love you, bro.
Love you. Bye.